Really interesting question actually, because we get all sorts of students. I'd say probably the most common combination are students that do other humanities and arts subjects. So quite a lot of students will do classics. They also do history because there's a big history element in classics. But also English literature goes really, really nicely with something like classics. There's a big literature component as well. But quite often we get students that do sciences and maths, and they want the one additional subject that shows they can do other stuff, if you like. And classics is such an interdisciplinary humanities subject that quite often that really sits nicely alongside those science and maths subjects as well. Okay, so we cover 3 modules in all. One big module which we run across both of the years. That's the literature module. So we look at Homer's Iliad, kind of set against the Trojan War, moving on to Virgil's Aeneid in year 2. So that's 2 big epic poems. We also study the politics of the late Roman Republic, so kind of Julius Caesar, Mark Antony, Cleopatra, all those big names, and kind of the turmoil of that period leading up to the rise of the first emperors. And we also study a really, really exciting module in year 2, the invention of the barbarian, which is kind of centred around Greek identity and the way that the ancient Greeks invented identities for other people, particularly the Persians, and what that says culturally and psychologically about the Greeks. But that's kind of, we look at that through looking at the Persian Wars and also a couple of Greek plays, which is really interesting. So it's exam only, no coursework, 3 exams, so 1 for each of those modules that I mentioned earlier. 1 2-hour 20-minute exam, so that's the bigger paper, and then 2-hour 45-minute exams, and those are essay based, although the invention of the barbarian module also has a bit of a visual component, some archaeology and visual sources, so there's a bit of a visual element in that particular exam as well. So we always get away abroad each year, and we tend to alternate that between Italy, so starting in Rome, try and get down to Pompeii, places like that, and then followed by Greece the next year. And we get to the British Museum every year, just ahead of the summer holidays. We go up and have a little look, because there's lots and lots of artefacts there that we study in year 2, so it's quite nice to go see those in the flesh. Any other opportunities as they arise, like Greek theatre, that kind of thing. And we also have had some really lovely visiting speakers in, like Edith Hall, who's a famous classicist and specialises in Greek theatre, so that's always a really, really nice opportunity. We try to get up to Warwick Drama, the Ancient Drama Festival each year as well, which gives the students another opportunity to, well, not only be exposed to kind of higher education, really good university, but they get to see student productions of the plays as well. Okay, so we get quite a lot of students go on to Russell Group universities, and usually a student or 2 each year go off to Oxbridge. They can be studying anything from straight classics to classics with English, or archaeology, classical archaeology, ancient history, those kinds of things. And more recently, I'm noticing that students really know they want to get into the heritage sector, so they're going off and doing things like curatorial practice, you know, how to manage museums, galleries, that kind of thing. So quite a range of subjects. I had, I think, a couple of years ago as well, a third of my students went off to do law. So classics is a really good subject if you're thinking of doing law. And law, or should I say classics with a law conversion, is a really popular pathway at a lot of universities. Well, I've been teaching here for a few years now, and I really do enjoy teaching here. The students are great. I think, you know, the students choose to study the subjects. They've made that decision themselves, and so the enthusiasm is really, really good. It's nice to feed off students' enthusiasm, and the dynamic in the classroom is always really, really exciting. So yeah, I think the students really. If it wasn't for the students, then I probably wouldn't be here.